What's up, YouTube? This is Brandon Stinson from Iconic Snap, and I'm here bringing you another video tutorial on how to do an intro. You can put it in front of your YouTube videos or any making a movie or anything, whatever you guys plan on doing. Uh, so let's get that started. So what we're going to do first, we are going to go to File, New, and we're going to go to the presets and make it Film and Video. Make sure it's HDTV for 1080p so that you have the highest quality that you can get for a YouTube video. And then we're going to go to resolution and go to 150, and then we're going to press enter. So what we're going to first do is we're going to bring over a grunge background. I already have mine selected. We're going to go to that. I'm going to just drag it over. You guys can go to Google and just type in white grunge background, black grunge background, whatever you guys are digging. So then you're going to press Command T, and we're going to resize that image just by dragging the corners by pressing Shift in the corner and then dragging the mouse just to make it fit a little bit better. Now that we have the grunge background, I already have my logo, so I'm not going to teach you guys how to make my logo, but you guys can use whatever image or logo you guys want, whether it be text or anything. So after you guys get your text or logo pulled over to the screen or made on the screen, we're going to press Command A. That's going to select the whole image, and then we're going to basically center that image by make sure it's on the Move tool, and with the whole image selected, you're going to press Align to vertical centers and Align to horizontal centers. That's going to bring everything centered perfectly. And then we're just going to unselect. So I just always right click and press deselect. So now that we have that going, basically we're going to just make it look a little bit cooler because, no one just wants a basic video tutorial. So what we're going to do, basically we're going to add these effects. I'm going to show you guys how to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to, on your logo text, whatever you guys have going on, we're going to make that, we're going to press normal because I know some of you guys don't use Photoshop as much as me. We're going to go press normal, and then we're going to drag it down to the blending options of overlay. And you're like, oh, Brandon, you just made my image disappear. Well, no, it's just a different blending option. So this is what we're going to do. This is what's going to look like after we add the effects. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So you're going to basically double click on where mine says logo. It's going to say whatever yours says. So we're going to double tap, and then that's going to bring up the different options we have selected for the blending modes. So the first thing we have is the bevel. So you're going to make that check mark go on and say bevel and emboss. So we're going to have inner bevel. We're going to have smooth. We're going to bring it to 115. Basically what that does is it's going to make it look more in depth or less in depth. So I like mine at 115 because I don't need it to be too in depth. I like it just subtle. The next thing we're going to do is go to size, bring that to 5. Basically what that does is make it look more chiseled. So we're going to bring that to 5, and then we're going to leave softness at 0 unless you guys want it to look a little bit softer, but that's just not what I'm feeling for this video. So the next thing we're going to do is add the texture. The texture is basically adding the fill to the logo or to your text. So what it means by that is if I deselect it, you're just going to see that a lot of stuff got subtracted. It's just adding fill to it. So we're going to basically, the pattern you're using is the one on the far right. I scaled it to 85. Scale is just making it bigger or smaller, the little grains. So I'm going to keep mine at 85. And then the depth, I'll put mine at 339. The depth is just basically how in depth the grains are. So I'm going to leave mine around 339. And then the next one is the graded overlay. The graded overlay is not as important. It's basically just making a little bit more gray. So without it, you see it adds a little bit of the darkness. So on my gradient overlay, as you can see, I double tap on this color. You're just going to make that gray. And then you're going to double tap on the far color and make it white. Then press OK. I put the opacity about 43 because if I put it at 100, it turns it completely gray. And I really didn't want that. I wanted a nice mixture. So I put it at 45. And then you can scale it to however much you want, but mine's at 107. And then the most important thing is the drop shadow. The drop shadow is what's going to make it stand out so it's not blending too much with the background. So without that, that's basically what it looks like. Drop shadow is going to add the shadow behind it so it stands out a little bit more. What I did was put it to about 47 on the opacity. You can make it a little bit darker if you like it, but I'll probably just keep it about 60 actually for this video tutorial. And then we are going to make the distance 5, too far of a distance, basically going to drag the shadow from the original image. I'm going to keep it about at 5. And then spread 6, size, I'm going to put about 11. Go to a little bit too big and it's basically expanding the shadow. So I'm just going to bring it back down to about, I'll just keep it at 9 for this one, or 8. So now that that's done, we're getting to where we want the logo to be. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add these lines. I don't really know what I call them. I just call them lines. So what we're going to do is going to make a new layer. We're going to go to the elliptical tool, make sure it's the rectangle marquee, and you're going to make just like a decent width, just about like that. And then, so now we have the marquee tool selection. We're going to right click and we're going to go to fill. We're going to fill it with black, so we're going to color. It's going to open up that. We're going to press black, press OK. Now you have your lines that we're going to use throughout this part of the tutorial. So now we're going to deselect by just right clicking and press deselect. And then we're going to press Command T with that layer. I'm just going to call that layer line. And we're going to press Command T. And then we can rotate it. We're going to basically transform our selection. And we're going to bring it up to the top right, the top left corner. And that's the beginning of the lines we're going to use to add a little bit more of an effect. Okay, so then after you get it up in the corner, you're going to press enter, and we're going to duplicate this layer by basically just dragging the line layer to the new layer, and then that just makes a duplicate in Photoshop. So now we're just going to drag it down, and we're just going to make some lines. You're like, Brandon, why are you doing that? Well, I'll show you guys in a little bit why I'm doing that. So you're going to keep doing that until you have stripes all down the image. It's probably going to be about 6 of them, 5 or 6 of them. All right. Make the spacing however you want. You can have as many lines as you want. It's just more for your personal preference. So yeah, so I'm going to have about 6 of them after I'm all said and done. Alright, so then after you get all of them down, like how you see here, you're going to like, oh, you just ruined your image. Well, no, not really. So what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to press the top layer, and then I'm going to go all the way down to the first line that we created. We're going to hold down shift, and we're going to press that. It's basically going to select all the lines that were created, and then we're going to right click, and then we're going to merge those layers. So we're going to merge the layers, and then now they're all combined basically, so they're not separated anymore. And then we're going to go to the blending option of normal, and we're going to switch that to overlay. What that's basically going to do is create a darker effect, going from light to dark to light to dark, to basically just add a nice effect to your image. And then after we do that, let's just bring the opacity down to about 85, just so it's not too hard. And then we're going to duplicate those lines. It's going to get real dark for a second. Then with that duplicated line image, we're going to go to filter, we're going to blur, and we're going to go to gauge and blur, and then we're just going to basically blur it out a little bit to make it dark but still get a nice blur effect, which is going to look real sweet afterwards when we go to Adobe After Effects. So we're almost done with the Photoshop side of everything. The last thing we have to do is add the Vignette or Vegete or whatever you guys like to call it. I know everyone calls this a little bit something different. So what we do is we're going to create one more new layer. We're going to go to the marquee tool, the elliptical marquee tool, and we're going to basically just create a selection around our logo. All right, so don't be too worried. We can transform the selection after you put it down. So we're going to right click in the center. For you guys that don't know, you just press transform selection, and then you can drag and drop different things to get your selection exactly how you want it to be. So now that we have that, we're going to press enter, and then with the new layer selected, we are going to right click in the center and press select inverse. That's basically going to select the outside of the image, and then we're going to right click in that selection, press fill, go to color, make it black, press OK, and then now we have the first part of the Vignette. So then after that, we're going to deselect, And we don't want to look like this. So we're going to basically go to the where it says normal and the blending options. We're going to make it hard light. And then we are going to go to filter. We're going to blur, gauge and blur. And then now you're going to start getting that nice effects. It's not going to look as hard. It's going to be a softer feel for the black light around the edges. And it's going to blend well with the lines that we made earlier. So then we're going to press OK. And then now this part of the image is done. So now we're going to go over to the Adobe After Effects where I'll catch up with you guys. Before I go though, we're going to go to File. We're going to go Save. And then you can just save it as an Adobe Photoshop because they're compatible. The two programs are compatible. So I'm just going to press Test Iconic 1. And then that's going to save to my desktop. And then I'll meet you guys back up for the next part of the tutorial. Alright guys, so now we're about to go to part 2 of the video, the Adobe After Effects version. So we're going to minimize the Photoshop and we are going to pull up the Adobe After Effects. I saved my Adobe Photoshop file on the desktop so that I could just drag it into Adobe After Effects, which is the easiest thing to do. So I'm going to drag that over now. It's going to say Merge Layers, and I'm just going to press OK. And that's going to pull it up in the Projects section of the Adobe After Effects. So then I'm going to drag that Photoshop file down to this section. And then now it's pulled up. So the first thing you're going to always want to do is you're going to want to press this little box that says 3D. And if that's not showing, there's a toggle switches mode button below. So you're just going to press that. That's basically going to make it pop up or not pop up. So after that was popped up for you, you're going to go to this effects and preset settings. And you're going to type in glass. This is going to get at a glass effect. So we're going to drag CC glass over to the Test Iconic or whatever your Photoshop image is called. And you're going to let go. And as in the top, you're going to see it's going to say surface light shading. We're going to start off by messing with the surface. So really this is all a matter of what you guys like the effect to look like. I'll show you what I did for mine though. So I'm going to bring this to about 84. I don't like it looking too soft, so I like mine at 84, but if you want a little bit softer, just adjust it to how you guys want it to be. For the height, I'm going to put mine around about 40. That's just basically going to give it that 3D look, so if I go a little bit more, it's going to get a little bit more intense. I'm going to keep mine about 40 because I like it subtle, like I said earlier in the video. And then I'm going to drag the displacement to around 88. That's just basically messing up the image a little bit to make it look a little bit cooler. So now that I have that all going, we're going to add the light. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Layer, we're going to go to New, and we're going to go to Light. And then this screen is going to pop up. All this is already fine. You can add any color light you want. I'm going to keep mine white because I like how the white one looks. So what we're going to do is press OK, and you're going to have your light. So now that's already given that cool effect you saw earlier. I'm going to drag it around so you can see what it does. It's going to give that animation look. So now that we have that up, I'm going to go back to the Test Iconic, and I am going to go to the effects controls, and then I'm going to go to light. So now you're going to mess up with the light settings. You're going to mess with the light intensity. The first thing you're going to do is go to light type, and you're going to change it to point light. It's going to make it a little bit more focused. So the first thing that we're going to change on light is the light intensity. I'm going to bring mine down to about 72 just so it's a little bit more focused. And then I'm going to change the light height just a little bit and bring it up to 88. Like I said, make it how you guys want it. You can play around with the effects all you want. And then that's really all you have to do for the light. The next thing you're going to do is go to shading. This is where you get the cool effects for the Adobe After Effects. And you can make this however you want, just like I said before. So with the ambience, I'm going to bring mine to about 38. And then with the diffuse, I'm going to bring it to about 49. Just bring it down just a little bit. And then with the specular is just basically making it look a little bit wet. I'm going to bring the specular to about 54. My dog's growling at me. He wants me to play with him. And then I'm going to bring the roughness to about, just bring it up just a little bit. I'm going to bring it to about 32. And the metal, I like a lot of metal. Metal just, I'll show you guys what it does. It basically just makes it look like contrast. I'm gonna bring it all the way up to 100. I'll bring it down a little bit to probably about 92. And this part is done. I mean, now you're getting that nice effect. You drag the light around. Um, you just have to put the nice Adobe After Effects effect. So now what we're gonna do is basically gonna keyframe the image. So to keyframe the image, what we're gonna do is we're gonna press the Photoshop layer, and then we are going to press the little drop down, and we're gonna scroll down to light position. And at light position, we're gonna press the Alt and the time frame thing. That's basically gonna let us pair it to the light later. So what we're gonna do right here, the expression, we're gonna cancel that out, and then we're gonna go to this little squiggly, and we're gonna hold down, and we're gonna scroll up to the light, and we're gonna pair that to the light. So it's basically just connecting the two, the light position of the Photoshop file and the light that we just created in Adobe After Effects. So we just let go of that. It's gonna give you a warning. We're gonna basically have to put in this code. So on this line, it's going to say this comp.layer light, and we are going to finish off the code. Make sure this is key or it's not going to work. It's because we're trying to pair a 2D layer with a 3D layer. So you're going to press dot TO capital COMP parentheses bracket 0, 0, 0 bracket in the parentheses, and then semicolon, and then you just click off, and then basically it's paired now. So now basically the light is, let me show you. I'm going to drag the light around. Now that we did that, the light is basically 3D everywhere. So it's rendering right now, but it's going to give you the nice 3D effect when you drag the light around. If I can get it right and show you guys. So now everywhere you go, it's going to be 3D. So the next part we're going to do, we're going to press light, and this is basically going to give you that animation effect. So we're going to press light, we're going to press the letter P, and then it's going to show position. So we're going to zoom out. So let's just press 12.5, or let's zoom in a little bit. Let's go to 25%. And I'm going to drag this light. I'm going to drag it all the way off the frame. Let's go back to 12%. So now we're going to drag this over out of the frame. And what we're going to do now that this is dragged over the light out of the frame, we are going to first trim the image, because you're not going to want a 30-second intro, especially with this specific video that we're making. So we're going to take this, we're going to get this yellow button, the work area button, and we're going to drag it down to about a little bit over 5 seconds. You're going to right click on it, and you're going to press trim comp to work area. So now it's going to trim it. So now we're about to basically keyframe it. So with the light still out of the picture, we're going to press the stopwatch button at 0 seconds. And then we're going to drag 0 seconds over to the end. And then we're going to drag the light all the way over to the other side, about the same distance out of the picture. So you're going to let go. And then now it's keyframed. So basically, if I press play, you'll see throughout the time of the video, it's going to basically, the light's going to go through the work area. So now, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to get a little bit more in depth, I'm going to show you guys one last thing that I did to make my video basically pop. So I'm going to go back to the test iconic image, and then I'm going to keyframe basically the light. The light's going to fade in and out with the video. It's going to make it look a little bit cooler. So I'm going to go to the shading, and then I'm going to click on, well, first let's go back to 0. Then I'm going to click on all the time stops on the shading. So I'm on ambient, diffuse, specular, roughness, and metal. And then I'm going to drag those all to 0. Yes, drag all to 0. But before you do that, guys, remember your settings. So I'm going to take a picture of mine so that I remember exactly what to put it back at later, because we're gonna have to put it back to the numbers that we have it at right now. So after you guys take your picture, drag it to 0. all of them. And it's going to make it basically look completely black, or as you possibly can get at least. And then we are going to drag it to the end of the video, and we're gonna just re-key. You have to press the buttons again to make sure it gets the keyframe. So it's still gonna be 0. And then we're gonna drag it to the middle, about 2.5-ish, whatever. And then we're gonna put them back to what we originally had them at. So mine's about 38, and diffuse about 49. And specular is about 54. Roughness about 31. Metal about 92. So what we just did is it's gonna, when we get to here, it's gonna start fading in. When we get to here, it's gonna start fading out, and it's gonna give it a much better effect with the light. It's gonna be a lot better lighting effect. So I'm gonna zoom back in to fit so I can show you guys what I mean. And then I'm gonna press play. It's gonna basically, I'm gonna start it over so you guys can see. It's gonna go pretty slow right now, but so the light's gonna start fading in as the light's coming in, and you can see on the fading in, and it's going slow right now just because it's still rendering. But after it's done, after you guys save the file, it's gonna work perfect. It's gonna run through one more time for you guys, and I'll run it through a couple times after the video. But that's it right there, and then you're basically done. So you can keyframe it however you guys want. It's gonna just keep looping over and over. But that's basically how you get a real nice, cool looking effect that looks real professional. You can use on any of your guys' videos. I added music to mine, which I'll play at the end and at the beginning so you guys can see what the final outcome is. But make sure you give my video a like and a comment. If you have any questions or want me to make any tutorials, just let me know. And give me a follow on Instagram at Brandon J. Stinson. Connect with me. I'll be happy to help you guys with anything Photoshop or Adobe After Effects related. So have a great day and see y'all later.